Hey, what's up guys? It's Tyson at Redmond Used Motorcycles. In this video, I'm going to be doing a first ride review of this bike, the 2021 Yamaha MT-09. So let's jump into it. Here we are aboard the 2021 Yamaha MT-09. For those of you who are new to this bike, the MT-09 is powered by an inline 3-cylinder motor that produces 113 peak horsepower. It's an 889cc inline 3, so it's just about 900 cc's. And that gives this bike a tremendous amount of low end grunt, a tremendous amount of torque, which is part of the reason why Yamaha names this bike the Master of Torque, or the MT. This bike has a very relaxed, upright riding position. You've got this nice handlebar that positions the rider straight up and down on the seat. You are not leaned over like you would be on a sport bike. Instead, you've got this very neutral riding position that does not put a lot of pressure on your wrists. It makes for a very comfortable riding position. The MT-09, starting in 2021, receives a whole slew of nice electronic rider aids. First off, you've got this color LCD display that controls everything from your riding modes to your traction control, ABS, wheelie control, slide control, and quick shifter functions. So getting on the freeway, I can immediately tell you are definitely out in the wind on this bike. It is a naked sport bike after all, so you do not have a fairing on the front, and you generally do not have any sort of windscreen protection. This one has this small Puge windscreen, which is providing a little bit of wind protection, but essentially you're out in the wind. Overall, I like the naked sport bike out in the air feeling. It gives you a visceral sensation and really makes you feel like you're out riding a motorcycle. Now this bike has a really nice intake noise. The new 2021 MT-09 has true ram air intakes on the left and right side of the gas tank up here, giving forced air into the airbox, and you can really hear that intake noise of air rushing into the engine when you get on the gas. All the electronics on this bike are powered by the Bosch 6-axis IMU system, which is a lean angle sensor that can tell if your bike is accelerating, decelerating, leaning left, leaning right, or even stepping out in a slide turning right or stepping out in a slide turning left. And what that data allows for is for the bike's cornering ABS system, traction control system, wheelie control system, and slide control to apply its safety systems based specifically on how the bike is sitting. The seat on this bike has a 32.5-inch seat height, which makes it a little bit taller than some other bikes. I'm 5'11", I have a 30-inch inseam, and I can very comfortably flat-foot this bike, but I can imagine riders that are a little bit shorter might have some difficulty putting both feet down flat-footed on it with that little bit higher seat height. The upright riding position with the handlebars definitely helps with managing the weight of this bike. Dipping into these corners is really quite effortless on the MT-09. It has a very light feel to it, and it is very flickable when it comes to dropping in and out of these corners. I can feel that the bike is very nimble, very lightweight, and easy to maneuver. What's fun about the MT-09 is you've got the ability to corner like you would on a sport bike, but without that super aggressive riding position. You can still get the thrill of leaning the bike over, and you have plenty of ground clearance if you ever did want to take a bike like this to a track day. You would not have any issue with scraping your foot pegs mid-corner at apex. So it is really kind of a nice compromise. I've got to say that the touch points on the bike, everything from the hand controls to the display, have a very nice feel to them. It feels very high quality and very premium. It just feels a little bit nicer, especially compared to the previous FC09's black and white display. I'm also really surprised by the level of electronic rider aids that this bike gets. Brand new, this bike costs $93.99, and it comes with the same electronics package that you'll find on Yamaha's top spec superbike, the Yamaha YZF-R1. And it's really something that normally you would only find on these $15,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 motorcycles, but it comes standard on this bike, which is really incredible. The cornering ABS system works so that if you are mid-corner on wet pavement, exactly like the conditions that I'm in right now, and you have to apply a heavy amount of front brake, the cornering ABS system will prevent the bike front wheel from locking up, and more than that, it'll keep the bike from changing its turning trajectory. Normally when you apply a lot of brakes, your bike will stand up and force you and the bike to go in a straight direction. The cornering ABS system applies in a way that doesn't affect the radius of your turn or the lean angle of your turn, all while keeping the front wheel from sliding out and preventing you from crashing. The lean angle sensor also works with the traction control, so if you're leaned over in a corner and you apply too much gas, the bike, if it does lose rear wheel traction, but notices that you're at a specific lean angle, will apply the traction control specifically so that you can regain grip while you are sliding mid-corner. Again, another feature I hope I never have to test out, but I'm sure glad it's there to protect me if I do ever need it. And then of course there is the wheelie control, which this bike will detect if the front wheel is coming off the ground, and it'll interrupt power to bring the front end back down, which allows for the bike to accelerate much more rapidly. And we'll test that out a little bit later in this video when I do the 0 to 60 test. I really love the sound of that engine, man. It sounds amazing. That engine roar, that intake sound, the quick shifter. Now the MT-09 is part of the Yamaha naked bike family. You've got, starting off, the smallest MT-03, which is a 320cc parallel twin motor that makes about 35 horsepower. And then a step up from that, you've got the Yamaha MT-07, which uses a parallel twin 700cc motor that's producing somewhere around 60 to 70 horsepower. And finally, above the MT-09, you've got the MT-10, which is essentially a naked version of the Yamaha R1. I did a on-track review of that bike. If you want to check it out, I'll link it right here. Having ridden all the different versions, though, I have to say that the FC09 might be my favorite. The MT-09 might be my favorite, just because of the power delivery and the weight of this bike. Now the MT-09 got a major headlight update with the 2021 version. They switched over from the two headlights that they've had in the previous two generations to a single projector LED beam and two DRL marker lights, which personally I think it looks great. It looks a lot more modern. So who do I think should buy a Yamaha MT-09? I think this bike would be great for somebody who has gotten a couple years of riding experience, maybe on a smaller displacement bike. Maybe you started off on a Ninja 300 or Ninja 400 or a Z400, something of that nature, maybe a Yamaha MT-03, and now that you've had a couple years of riding on that bike, you want to grow into something a little bit more powerful. I think this would be a great option for that, because it's definitely a massive power jump from any of those bikes. 2021 MT-09 0 to 60, let's go. Woo! Alright, final impressions after riding this bike on the street, on the highway, on some twisty roads. I absolutely love this bike. I think that for the amount of performance that you're getting from this 889cc inline 3-cylinder motor, to all the electronic features that come standard on this bike. Up and down quick shifter, 6-axis IMU from Bosch with cornering ABS, wheelie control, slide control, all that stuff. I think it's just an incredible value altogether. You can pick this bike up used. It's for sale here at Redmond Used Motorcycles. You can buy them brand new. I think either way, you're getting a whole lot of bang for your buck. Let's listen to this engine note here now that the bike's hot. God, that triple motor just sounds amazing. I absolutely love this bike. I think it's fantastic. Thanks for watching this first ride review of the 2021 Yamaha MT-09. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them down in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to all of your questions. Also, if you haven't seen it already, I did a review of the MT-10 SP on track. I'll put that video up right here. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel to see more content just like this. Lots of first rides, lots of on-track reviews. And until the next video, we'll see you guys. Peace.